Tensions are escalating in the Middle East as another U.S. warship enters the region. Despite the buildup, President Trump says he's still willing to talk with Tehran.
Iranian leaders continue to send warnings of retaliation against any U.S. strike. They're planning to hold naval operations in the Strait of Hormuz. CBN News' Joshua Swanson reports from Jerusalem.
Another U.S. Navy destroyer, the USS Delbert D is now operating in Middle East waters, bringing the total number of American destroyers in the area to 6, along with an aircraft carrier and additional combat ships. The buildup comes as Iran reportedly received a new shipment of 1,000 drones and prepares for the possibility of direct confrontation. Iranian military leaders are openly threatening U.S. forces, warning that any American strike would be met without delay. The IRGC Army spokesman said on state television a decisive response will be delivered instantly, adding that U.S. bases and aircraft carriers are within the range of our medium-range missiles. At the same time, President Trump says he's had conversations with Iran and is planning more. The president also pointed to the growing U.S. military presence, saying the United States has a lot of very big, very powerful ships sailing to Iran right now, adding that it would be great if they were not used. In Jerusalem, Israeli leaders are preparing for the possibility of another conflict with Iran. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held a high-level security consultation on what officials described as a classified topic. Reports say the briefing focused on the possibility of a U.S. strike, along with concerns that Israel could face significant retaliation. The Israeli Mossad chief, David Barnea, is in Washington meeting with top U.S. officials amid conflicting signals over U.S. readiness to act. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says the U.S. military is fully prepared to carry out President Trump's decision. Speaking during a cabinet meeting, Hegseth warned Iran against pursuing nuclear weapons.
Should not pursue nuclear capabilities. We will be prepared to deliver whatever this president expects of the War Department.
He added that the administration is focused on restoring deterrence and making clear that America's warnings should be taken seriously.
When President Trump said we're not getting a nuclear Iran, you won't have a nuclear bomb, he meant it. And we sent those B-2s halfway around the world, and they never noticed.
Adding to the pressure on Tehran, the European Union has now designated Iran's Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization, citing its violent crackdown on protesters.
In Iran, horrific crackdown on protesters has come at a heavy human cost. The EU already has sweeping sanctions in place, and today ministers agreed to designate Iran Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization.
The designation gives EU governments the authority to use their strongest counterterrorism measures far beyond standard sanctions. Meanwhile, Iran's Revolutionary Guard is signaling defiance, announcing plans to conduct live-fire naval exercises in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway through which much of the world's oil supply passes. Joshua Swanson, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, obviously, it looks like both sides are preparing for war. It's time for Christians to prepare to pray. Let's pray for the people of Iran. They don't want their current government. They've said so again and again in revolutions and have been put down in extraordinarily violent ways with snipers on top of buildings and then troops unleashing live fire on unarmed crowds. The death total is staggering when you consider 60 to 80,000 people lost their lives there just in the past 2 weeks. It's absolutely staggering. This is a weekend of decision as the naval forces reach a critical mass, and we'll see what happens. Any kind of live fire exercise in the Strait of Hormuz, that's like lighting a match in a room full of gasoline. Let's pray, and let's pray that God intervenes, that somehow we can have a regime change in Iran.